report released by the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime about the charcoal grain market indicates that the trade presents a classic grain market where laws and regulations are flouted in the value chain. But for the majority of those who rely on charcoal and firewood as fuel, alternatives are often more expensive or less accessible.
We expect the person, if you move to town, we expect to use a cooker, we expect you to use gas, we expect you to use that. But I think because of the cost.
The third National Development Plan estimates that 72,000 hectares of Uganda's forest are cleared each year as a result of firewood and charcoal harvesting. This has led to an annual forest cover loss of 1.8%.
Here at one Kampala suburb, people have completely chosen to cook using firewood. But the big question remains, are they aware of the dangers that come with the kind of cooking method they have chosen to the environment?
Tukimanyi naye tetulina kyakola kuba kye tusobola.
Basale tetugasobola tega bbeeyi.
I'm sure they are aware 100%. Because if you arrest them, then they'll tell you all types of reasons.
In East Africa, where urban population is growing by leaps and bounds, investment in other forms of energy such as electrification is not matching current needs. With inadequate infrastructure, limited ability to transmit electricity over long distances, and limited generation capacity. This created an energy gap that is currently filled by wood fuels, among which charcoal is a common option.
We need to double our efforts, channel resources towards this area.
A sack of charcoal is sold at between 80,000 shillings and 100,000 shillings in most Kampala stores, and much more outside the country, mainly Kenya. Charcoal and wood conversion is a contributor forest cover loss, threatening biodiversity and in turn the environment that sustains rural populations, as well as posing a health risk due to burning techniques and the use of inefficient charcoal stoves. Uganda lost almost half of its forest cover between 1990 and 2015. The charcoal value chain ties the continent's carbon sinks, biodiversity hotspots, and watersheds to the fate of the rural poor and the quality of life of millions of urban residents.
And then from 2015, we are seeing some positive increase in the forest cover of the country, which is a good development. So that means there are actions which have been taken to stop deforestation.
The effectiveness of the bylaws have been mixed. Some have not been strictly enforced, all have been undermined by corruption, but they have had a positive effect in some areas. In Acholi sub-region, a joint initiative of district local government, the military and the police led to the introduction of intensive night operations to impound trucks carrying charcoal and imposed a total ban. However, deforestation is highest in private forests, with less deforestation occurring in government-managed public forests.
We are thinking now for people in owning private forest and people who are having their land which they had converted, possibly we need to modernize. We need to go for innovative approaches to managing that land, where we incorporate tree system into the farming system.
This has undermined law enforcement capacity, jeopardized environmental protection efforts, and expanded the exploitation and pressure of vulnerable populations, not least those for whom charcoal is a convenient fuel. Overall, the loss of trees has several important negative impacts for the development of the region and the environmental integrity of the planet.
Beyond this, there are issues to do with the reality that charcoal is actually a very important commodity in most of the households across East Africa. It's very cheap and the most affordable, means of cooking fuels. Is the cheapest.
Not only do forests provide measurable economic benefits through their contributions to timber, construction materials, bushmeat and tourism, they also act as carbon sinks, contribute to the creation of fertile soil and filtered water, and provide essential goods to local populations, as well as helping to mitigate the global effects of the climate crisis. This latter benefit gives the problem of how to sustainably regulate the charcoal trade global implication.
We actually need deliberate leadership approaches that are channeled towards conservation of the environment and looking specifically towards, charcoal production, how it can be regulated in a manner that is just to the environment, but also friendly and sustainable for the people, majority of the people who cannot afford other clean alternatives of cooking fuels.
Is there something which can be done to make charcoal cheaper than make gas, for example, cheaper than charcoal, so that we stop going for charcoal, we go for gas? So those are some of the discussions which we have had in several forums.
Kenya currently has a trade ban on the production and sale of Kenyan charcoal since 2018. In Uganda, certain districts have passed bylaws which attempt to stop all charcoal production. In South Sudan, a ministerial decree banned the export of charcoal in 2015, but this decree was only enforced in 2018. Other countries in the region have also sporadically instituted bans, often following outcry from communities in rural areas or advocacy groups against rapid rates of forest degradation or deforestation linked to charcoal production. Jane Nyiramjisha, reporting for UBC News.